Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to show us on how to download very high resolution georeference imagery that can be used for analysis and measurement within your GIS packages, just like what you can see on the screen. So you can see this imagery is much more of high resolution than the default Google imagery or big maps that you may actually find or downloaded from your Google Earth Pro, right? So if you even download your images from Google Earth Pro, there will still be a need for you to georeference and do other rectification procedures before you can make use of it for analysis. However, this method I'll be introducing to you all, there won't be a need for you to georeference. It comes as a TIFF file and it is of very high resolution, unlike your normal Google images. So let's get started. So first off is to launch into your SAS.Planet. The SAS.Planet is the software that will be used to download the high resolution imagery. So when you launch into your SAS.Planet, which is the GIS app here, make sure your system is connected to an active internet and you are expected to have your KML file of your study area. This helps you to navigate easily to your study area of interest within your work environment. So this is how it's going to come out as. So you may be finding it difficult to navigate your area of interest. So while the application is loading up based on your internet speed, the first thing to do is to click on source and make sure this third option is checked, internet and cache. This helps you to have access to other Google images or satellite imageries within the work environment. Then you can go ahead on settings and make sure your language is English, except you want to change to other languages of interest. Then the next thing is to import your KML study area by clicking on the operations tab here. Then you scroll down to open, click on open. Then you navigate to the folder where you have your KML. So I have it as area saved here. So other formats that can be compatible is the KMZ, your GeoJSON files, your GPX files, and the rest of this that you can see. So I'm just going to leave it as all formats. Then you click on open after you have selected your KML study area. It's going to bring out all of this, so I'm just going to leave all this on default because the aim of the KML study area is to help me navigate to the exact study area of interest. Then you click on yes. So automatically it is going to launch you to your study area. So the next thing to do is to change the interface to your imagery of interest by coming to click under this drop down beside the map Google. So you can actually download Bing Maps if your region has actually been uploaded, because these GIS packages works in a way that they update the maps or the data sets region by region across the world. So if you have Bing Maps available in your region, you can download under the S3, you can download Landsat imagery and the rest of that from this software and the rest of that. But the major available ones that I'm very sure of across the world is under the Google. Then you can now change it to satellite Google Maps. This will give you an advantage to change the interface to the normal Google Earth Pro interface, where you can now go ahead to extract your study area of interest in a georeferenced high resolution imagery format. So you just give it a little bit time for it to load up. So you can just zoom to have a better view of your study area. So here it is. So after it has changed into your imagery or data set of interest, the next thing is to click on this drop down here. Then you will have advantage to select your area by rectangular selection, polygonal selection, polyline by coordinates. You can input your lat and long if you have the coordinates of your location. If you do not have, it's still okay. Then you can do by last selection, that is if you have been working within this work environment before now. But the best one to go ahead with is the polygonal selection. So you select these options. So this will give you the advantage to delineate with the extent of your imported KML. So you just click on the edges to extract the edges of your study area alone, because the larger your study area, the heavier the file is going to download. So as I'm done, you can now click on this apply. So when you click on apply, it will give you the advantage to go ahead and do some settings. So you click on the download option here. If yours is on Stitch, click on download. Then on your download, first thing to do is to make sure that this is on satellite Google Maps. That is the dataset imagery of interest. Then you scroll to your zoom. So the higher the zoom, the higher the resolution, and the better the image is going to come out. So I do recommend 23. So this gives a better pixel size. So if you have to go with 10, the imagery is going to be blurred. But if you go with something higher, you will have something that is very higher than what you have on other sources like the Google Earth Pro or your Landsat 8 imagery or even your Sentinel. Your imagery is going to be less than 2 meter. That is 2 meter in resolution. That is 2 meter accurate. So I recommend 23 or 24 depending on the quality of your system RAM. Alright, so after you check all this, then you can now click on the Stitch tab. So the output format, the default is going to be on JPEG. Then you click and you go ahead to click on the drop down, then scroll down to GeoTIFF. You need to download your GeoTIFF, a georeferenced format of your data that you're about to download from the SAS.Planet. Then the same thing you did earlier, you change it to your resolution of interest, which is 23 in my case. Then you click on this browse icon here to define the path where your output data should be. So I'm going to call this GeoImage3. Okay, then you note the path is going into, then click on save. Automatically it's going to have the extension .tif. Okay, so that's all you need to do. There's no need to come to generate and others except you want to play with the interface. So after these settings, you can now click on start. Automatically it will start downloading, so you can see how accurate it is. 165 by 150. You can see it's processing by downloading the imagery. Just give it a bit time. We are still going to go ahead to check the accuracy of the imagery within the ArcGIS Pro work environment after download. So it's done downloading. You can now minimize and go to the folder to confirm if it has saved within your path. So I have it here, GeoImage3, and you can see the file size. This is about 1.48 gig. Let's go ahead to launch into ArcGIS Pro. I'm going to uncheck this. Then I can go ahead to import the GeoImage3. So I have it as GeoImage3. So here it is. Select it and click on OK. Then you click on yes. So you can see it's done, and you can see how it came out to be very accurate and ready to use for your analysis. So this basically is the hack I do use for recent analysis for land use, land cover classification. So I do not make use of the Sentinel data or the Landsat data for my analysis. I make use of this particular imagery. All right, so you can see how it came out as beautiful as what it should be. So this is the hack I make use for my analysis. I download recent imagery of very high resolution. You may actually think I use a drone to capture this area, but that is just the secret behind the GIS work that I do. Okay, so you can go ahead to conduct your land use, land cover classification. You will find out that everything will be accurate. Your analysis is going to come out perfect, like perfect, no doubt at all. So you can go ahead to import your imagery of high resolution into your QGIS. If you are familiar with the QGIS or you are comfortable with it, use it to do your analysis, or you can actually import this into your Civil 3D, then digitize and do other measurements directly within your Civil 3D workspace. In case you are in need of the SAS.Planet software, check the description of this video to see how to download and install freely. So let's quickly check the resolution, the accuracy resolution of this imagery by right clicking on the name. Then you scroll down to properties, click on properties, then click on source, then raster information. So you can see the cell size here. This is 0.03 for the X, and for the Y 0.03. That is about 3 centimeter accurate. So you will never get this kind of high resolution imagery freely from from your Sentinel or from your Landsat or any other sources that you download satellite imagery. So that's just the hack. If you find this video helpful and informative, do well to hit on the subscribe icon, as well as turn on your notification on this channel to keep on getting valuable tutorial freely. Thank you. See you in the next video.